Hi, this is Miss Allison. I'm glad you could join me today. Today's lesson is going to be about drawing bubble letters. So you can make signs for your room, you can make headlines for posters at school, all kinds of things like that. The supplies that you will need are a pencil, you will need paper, you can use magic markers, crayons, and colored pencils if you want to color them in. I can show you some highlighting techniques too, okay? So you get your supplies together and we'll get started. When you are drawing bubble letters, the first thing that you want to do is really lightly, you want to draw the letters in pencil first. So if I'm going to write hello, I'm going to write first with stick letters, and I want to do that lightly so that we can erase it when we're done. So I'm going to write H-E-L-L-O for hello. So now I've got just my regular writing. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to create bubbles around there with curved lines, kind of like I'm turning it into a puffy pillow. I will actually do that with a Sharpie so you can see it. So see where my straight line is? I'm going to start a little bit outside of it, and my bubble is going around my lines. I'm going to kind of puff out where I can. I go up and down. See how I'm following the lines of the H, but I am creating these puffy spaces around it. Now the E, you have to remember to do that little space in between that goes up and down. And it is okay if your letters touch each other. I actually prefer that when I do bubble letters. I like to have them overlap a little bit. Do you see how much space I'm leaving around those lines? Now, as I said in the intro, you guys can use these if you have to make posters for school or title pages, or if you just want to do fun signs for your friends. So now I've got my curved lines around it done in a darker shade. And now I'm going to go through and I'm going to erase the lines in between. This eraser is not a very good one. Let's see if this one works. There we go. Should have checked my eraser first, I guess. So now I'm erasing all the lines on the inside because we don't want those to show up when we color our letters. So that is a pretty basic way. That is the way that I started drawing puffy letters. And it may take a few times to get it. Now I'm going to show you a cool way to color these in so that they look almost like they're three-dimensional. So you want to find a dark shade and a light shade of the same color. So I've got a dark green and a light green. The first color I'm going to put down is going to be the light green. Now I'm coloring kind of fast. You take your time so that your letters look really nice. But I want to get through this and show you. So there's my green H. Now with my darker green, I'm going to do some shading just around the sides, almost as if I was outlining it in green. I'm going to do some on the bottom and on the top of the cross piece between the H. Now I'm going to go up here and do some more. All right, see how that's looking a little bit more three-dimensional already? And now the other trick is if you put just a little bit of white, if you have a whiter pencil, although this is not showing up very well on here. Let's try the next letter with marker. So that one was done with colored pencil. Let's try one with marker and see if we can get that white to show up a little better. So this one, I'm using a light pink to color in my bubble E. All right, then I'm going to go over it with my darker pink, and I'm going to do that just around the edges to give it a little bit of that three-dimensional look. Now let's try the colored pencil on it and see if that works. That is really hard to get it show up on here too. It's showing up a little bit. Let's see what happens if we just do it all in the darker marker. So this is a red. So like anything, when you're doing art, when I do it too, sometimes what you're trying to do doesn't turn out, but that's how we learn things when we're doing art or anything else. Okay, here we go. On this one, you can see a little bit of the line or a little bit of the white on there if you look carefully. And now let's see if I take another color. There we go. And now I go around the outside and give it a little more shading. Now you'll see a little bit more of that bubble effect. And now that I look over here, I am able to see some of that white on there that I wasn't able to at first. But this way, your letters have even a little more depth. So there we've got 3 different styles. Let's try a blue one and see what that one will look like. And this one I'm going to try even something different. I am going to leave a little space in the middle that I'm not going to color in. Since the white didn't work as well as I wanted it to, one way that you can achieve white is by just not putting any color there. And I actually want those highlights just to be not really touching each other, just like a little highlight there. Now I'm going to take my darker blue. Now I'm going to go around the edges. That is looking more like what I wanted to. See how it's got kind of a nice 3-dimensional look to it? Nice and bubbly like that. There you go. That's what I was trying to achieve. Let's do one more, and this time I'm going to do it with 2 orange colors. So I'm going to color my O in. And it's kind of fun to do letters that are all different colors. Or if you're going to do multiple words on a poster or a sign for a family or a friend, maybe if it was multiple words, maybe hello would be one color, and then the next one might be soda. If I was saying hello to soda, so I would have hello be one color and soda be another, the second color. Now I'm going to come with my darker orange. Again, that's not quite as dark as I wanted. There we go. We want it to really show up well. All right, so I'm going to go around that. And I'm going to go around this too. It's almost as if you're making letters, like this kind of looks like an inner tube that you'd go swimming with. And if you look at those, the edges are always a little darker. Okay, I haven't given up yet. I'm going to try this white again. See if I can get a little bit. Nope, it looks like the best way to do it was just to leave some white, wasn't it? But here you can kind of see 3 different effects for doing your bubble letter. Let's do it one more time so that you're sure that you get it. So I'm going to draw my letters. Okay, we're going to just write soda's name on here. So I'm going to do an S. And this time I'm going to do some lowercase letters. So I'm going to do S, and then O, W, D, A. All right, now I'm going to go back like I did before, and I'm going to go around those letters to make them puffy. So the easy one is the O, right? You go around the outside of it, and then you make your circle on the inside of it. Now that's your puffy letter. The S. And each time you do this, you notice I start in a different place. It doesn't matter really where you start, just as long as you're away from the first line. And then I'm going to go down. And I always extend the line. See, this line stops here. I'm going to go out beyond that a little ways. So we're getting that that puffiness all the way around. And by doing your letters one at a time like this, you can figure out, oh, if you made a mistake, you can stop before you get too far and fix the spelling of the word. Now you notice this W I did with points, but I'm rounding all those points out to make the puffy. I'm on the D. I'm going to start with the inside. I'm going to start up here and do the stem of the D. Don't forget the bump. I'm going to go around like this. So there's the D, and then the last one, the A. I'm going to go around like this, up and around, and then I'm going to do the A. So do you guys remember what the next step was? I need to erase those lines. Oh, there's my good eraser. Oh, sorry about that. So now I'm erasing the lines that were in the middle because we don't want to see those. Then everybody will know our tricks of the trade and how we create such nice bubble letters. Now, if you've seen me do this in the art studio, you've seen that I don't start out with the lines, and that's because I've been doing this for a really long time, so I can create the letters without the lines. And if you do this a whole bunch, someday you'll be able to do that too, but this is exactly how I started when I first started creating bubble letter words. So again, I like the way this one turned out the best because we've got the highlights on there. So I'm going to really gently just draw myself a circle there and one here, just kind of like a kidney bean shape, so that I know not to color in that spot because I want to see those highlights. If you look at, go in the kitchen, look at a metal pan, pretty much look at anything maybe on the side of your TV, you'll notice where you can see white highlights, and that's where the light bounces off any material, any plastic or metal. You'll see these little white areas. And when you add those to your coloring, it kind of adds an extra dimension. And if all I had was this green pencil and I didn't have a darker one, I can just press harder the second time around. And that way I can get two shades of the same color. So you don't really need to have a bunch of markers or colored pencils at home. If you only have one, that'll do. All right, I'm going to do this inside a little bit darker because I still want that highlight to show up really well. And now I've changed my mind. I'm going to make it a little smaller. So I'm going to cover up just a part of that. There. See, now you can see the highlights. You can see the darker areas. And if you don't have anything to color with at home, you can do the same thing with pencils. Oh, excuse me. Had a sneeze. So if you want to just shade this with pencil, you can do the same thing. I'm going to really lightly draw a little highlight up there. And just at the top of this one, I'm going to draw some little highlights, okay? And now with my pencil, I'm going to shade this in just lightly so it's not too dark. And with pencil, you can create so many different shades of gray. Pencil is a great thing to create art with. Okay, so I've got that, and that's my first shade right, and I've got my highlights. Now I'm going to go in. I'm going to press just a little bit harder with the pencil, and I'm going to go around. And like we've discussed before, if you do not have paper at home, remember that you can ask a grown-up in the house if maybe they have some envelopes left over from mail that came into the house, or you can open up a cardboard box that maybe had pasta in it or some other food package. You can open up that and you can draw in there. There you go. See how we got the same effect with a pencil. I'm going to try this one more time so that you see how we can create this highlight even if we are using our markers. So this time I'm just selecting where my highlights are going to go. I'm going to leave the inside of those white. Now I'm going to color in the rest of the D. So sometimes when you're at school, if you have to do a report or if you have to make a poster design for something, this is a fun type of lettering you can do, maybe just for the title of your poster or your report. And just remember to start in pencil so you make sure that your words are going to fit across just as line letters, regular letters. And once you know you've got the spacing figured out, then you can move on to add color to it. Because I don't want you to get all that time invested in your artwork and then find out it isn't going to fit on the page. Because trust me, I have done that. That is no fun. So now I'm adding the dark color. Give it more of that three-dimensional look. I'm not going over the white. I'm making sure to miss that. There, see? So now we've got our three-dimensional letter. We've got a couple little highlights on there. I'm going to do the S in soda in this light blue. And this one, I'm going to make the highlight cover the whole S. There are so many things you can do when you're coloring these in. Just play with it and try a bunch of things. Oh, with the last letter, I'll show you how you can even do kind of like a candy cane effect or a striped effect on your lettering, which can look really neat. Again, it takes a little bit more time, but it can look really neat in the end. And always remember, Ms. Allison has been doing this for many years, right? So be patient with yourself. This is just something that I thought you'd have fun doing. Don't get stressed out if it doesn't work the first couple of times, because I used to really stress myself out when I was trying to do lettering. And I'd get kind of upset if it didn't turn out right the first time, and you just have to be patient with yourself. And maybe if you're struggling with it, just start with a bunch of O's and just work on making that letter. Or an H is a really good one, or an L, something really simple. S's are the hardest letter there is to have turn out. There's just so many curves and so many directions to go in. So I've got my light blue. Now I'm going to do my dark blue. And see how I'm not touching the highlighted part. I'm making sure to stay back from that because I want to make sure it goes from the dark color to the light color and then to the white. You can also use paint to do this. And depending on the kind of paint you use, you can do a lot of really neat highlighting. And then if you're using acrylic paint or even tempera paint, if you make sure and let the tempera paint dry really well, you can do the light color, you can do the dark color, and then you can paint the white on top of that. And then the white will show up really nicely for your highlight. So there you go. That almost looks like neon, doesn't it? We were working with some neon in the art studio the other day with Naila and Amira and Jakaya. All right, so there's kind of a neon S. That's kind of fun, isn't it? Now over here, I'm going to show you how to do some stripes. So what you do here is you create a triangle. So it looks like this color is wrapping around the A. Now I'm going to do another one here. And the trick is to have these lines be curved, because that tells your brain when you're looking at it that this is a round A, not a flat A. If we had these lines be straight, the effect wouldn't be the same. So again, you want to keep those lines curved. All right, now I'm going to do one here. There. And then I think I'll add one right here on the end. All right, remember, all these curves are really important. If you do those as straight lines, you won't, the letter won't look as curvy as it does if we do it this way. And we can even make this roundness of the letter look even more so by going in and darkening the sides. Right here. And see how I'm using the same color to darken this blue? Right, so I use the same color blue here. You want to make sure these lines get really good. Then I'm going to use this light blue again. I'm going to darken that. So now my A looks nice and curvy. So there you go, guys. That is your lesson on how to make bubble letters. I hope you have fun with it and create some really good stuff. Remember, take your time, take it easy, don't get frustrated, and enjoy it. Keep on doing art. I'll see you again next week.